question 1, and we're moving into the Adida and Arteta vignette. Which of the following factors is least likely to be associated with Company A? High flotation costs on new equity issues, low growth prospects, or low dividend yield. So these are different factors that we're going to be looking at associated with Company A, and we need to determine which one would not be associated with them. So let's start reading here. Simrita and Adhita and Juan Arteta recently formed a partnership to offer investors investment advice on stocks. In recognition of the clientele effect, the two have embarked on the analysis of two potential companies, A and C. A is interested in technology, and C is an oil conglomerate that relies heavily on oil imports from the Middle East and Africa. The two entities are based in the United States. And then, we've got Company A here, so we've got some more information, and then we can probably make a decision on which of these they're not related to. Company A was founded 10 years ago. It issued an IPO 4 years ago and followed that up with a rights issue about a year ago. It has continually reported impressive results, but maintained a dividend payout ratio of less than 5%. So they've maintained a dividend payout ratio of less than 5%. That is going to take out our low dividend yield there. It's probably going to be a low dividend yield. So that is associated with Company A. Something we see, they continually report impressive results. So that's going to mean that, and it's also a tech company, which means they're probably lean more towards being a growth stock versus a value stock. And so they probably have pretty good growth prospects, not low growth prospects. This B is probably going to be our answer. High flotation costs on new equity issues. This is typically also going to be characteristic of a higher growing or growth stock. They're going to have higher cost of equity just because their cash flow is not going to be as consistent. So due to that, investors will require more of a premium on those new equity issues. So we will go with B, low growth prospects. Question 2. As a result of the buyback, Company C's book value per share will most likely A, increase, B, remain unchanged, or C, decrease. So one thing from the book is that when market value is equal to book value, buybacks don't have any effect on the book value per share. So what we're going to be doing here is we're going to need to kind of compare whether the book value and market value are equal. If we determine that they are equal, then we should be able to go with remaining unchanged. If it's not, then we can kind of do the math and show whether it increases or decreases. So we left off at Company C or Company A, so let's take a look at Company C here. Company C has 30 million shares outstanding. That's going to be used in our market value calculation. We're going to need shares outstanding times the share price to get the market value. Management has decided to repurchase 4 million shares at the prevailing market price of $40 per share. So there we go. We've got 40 times our 30 million. It's going to give us 1.2 billion as our market value. At the same time, the company has reported total assets of 14 million and total liabilities of 200 million. So we're going to be using that to determine our book value. Adhita and Arteta wish to establish how the buyback will affect the company's book value per share. So it looks like we've got all the information we need in this paragraph to calculate our answer. I'm going to scroll down here, and I've got all those numbers written out so we can walk through that way. So let's start with that initial book value and market value calculation. So it's just book value is just going to be assets minus liabilities. Gives us 1,200 million or 1.2 billion. And then our market value is going to be that 30 million outstanding times the $40 share price, gives us the same exact number. So from here, we can go ahead and conclude that it will remain unchanged. Like we said at the onset, if these are equal, then buyback won't have any effect. But let's just do this math out to kind of show. So book value per share before buyback is going to be our book value. So that 1,400 minus 200 and divide it by the number of shares outstanding, which is 30. It gives us a book value per share of $40. And then let's say we do the buyback which is going to be that 4 million shares times $40 per share. So we're going to be subtracting this amount from our book value because we're going to be needing to use cash in order to do so. So book value per share after buyback, book value of $1,200 minus that amount needed to actually buy back the shares, which is going to be 160 million. And then we're going to divide that by the new number of shares outstanding, which is 26 million. That 30 million minus the 4 that we're buying back leads us to that 40 number as well. So we can see here that the buyback has no effect in this instance. And if these numbers weren't equal, then you could obviously do the same math out to kind of see what that book value per share does before and after the buyback. And it's definitely a good idea to go back and do so in order to see that and understand it. But we'll go with B, remain unchanged. Question 3. In anticipation of the market downturn, Adhita and Arteta will most likely advise Company C to authorize a Dutch auction tender offer effective in 30 days, a tender offer share repurchase at a fixed price effective in 30 days, or an open market share repurchase plan to be executed over the next 5 years. So let's go back to where we left off, and I think it was right here at the book value calculations. So we'll start here. One of the directors of C recently approached Adhita and Arteta seeking advice. Following an outbreak of civil war in several oil-producing countries in the Middle East and Africa, the company feels the oil industry is headed for turmoil. According to the director, the company wishes to support its stock price during a market downturn. So this is the objective here. They want to support the stock price during a market downturn. And these 3 answers we have here are different, basically different ways that they can buy back their shares. And so let's walk through the mechanics of each of these. So a Dutch auction tender effective in 30 days. So a Dutch tender is going to specify a price range at which the company will basically buy back shares. And so this isn't going to allow them to support the stock price during a market downturn. They're going to be kind of beholden to that price range. So if the stock drops below that price range, then they wouldn't be able to support it. So we can go ahead and cross off A. B, a tender offers share repurchase at a fixed price effective in 30 days. This is going to be the same issue as A. If we're having to buy at a fixed price, that's not going to give them the flexibility that they're looking for. So it looks like we'll be going with C, but let's just make sure. An open market share repurchase plan to be executed over the next 5 years. An open market share plan means that we're buying the shares on the open market, and they have the flexibility to do that whenever they want within those 5 years. So this would be the best option for that flexibility for them to kind of support the price at it during market turmoil. So we will go with C. Question 4. Suppose ShipLink paid a dividend of $40 million during the year. The dividend payout ratio is closest to. So we've got 3 times 40% or 33.3%. So our dividend payout ratio is going to be that dividend paid that we have of $40 million, and then we're just going to divide that by our earnings. So let's go back up to where we left off, which is right here at the market downturn. And let's read down basically until we figure out what our earnings are, and then we can calculate that ratio. ShipLink, a renowned shipbuilder, approached Adhita and Arteta seeking advice on its offer to acquire C Systems, a software creator for the shipping industry. The offer is to pay C Systems shareholders the current market value of their stock in ShipLink. The relevant information in those calculations is given below. So we've got share price of ShipLink and C Systems, number of shares outstanding, and then here we go, earnings. So we are looking at ShipLink. We need ShipLink earnings. We've got the dividend amount. So from here, we're just going to be dividing those two. So we'll take the 40 million dividend, divide that by 120 earnings, and it gives us 33.33, and this is a percentage. So we will go with answer C.